Hi, this is Sydney Jolson from Zeal to Heal, and I'm so excited to continue the series called Good Reasons. Today we're going to be looking at Bible translations. Bible translations is a translation from the original text of Hebrew and Greek, and there's a little bit of Aramaic. So the Hebrew would look like this in Genesis chapter 1 verse 1, and it would look like this in the Greek, John 1 verse 1. If you are not a scholar of Hebrew and Greek, you would not know how to read the original texts and manuscripts of the Bible. Hence there are translations into mother tongues, native tongues of different cultures and countries all over the world. In fact, there are over 2,200 translations in different languages already. Excitingly, maybe in our generation, every different language would have a Bible translation. Bible translation goes right back to just after Christ's life. And in the 2nd century, there was a push to translate into different languages like the Coptic, Armenian, into the Syriac, and into Ethiopian languages. In the 5th century, under the Roman rule, a push to translate into Latin. And so Latin became the popular version of the Bible in that time. The only problem was that you needed to be a scholar of Latin to read the Bible. And this existed throughout the Middle Ages. In the 14th century, a gentleman named John Wycliffe, he translated the first version from the Latin version into English. This was very helpful, but it posed us some problems because it wasn't a translation directly from the original manuscripts of Hebrew, Greek, and Aramaic. So it brought an incredible transformation and understanding to the common person. Then there were many translations thereafter the 14th century where different people of countries and cultures started to translate into their languages and to their mother tongues. This poses a question as why are there so many different English versions and translations? Why can't we just settle on one? There are different purposes and reasons for translation. Number one is that there's been more findings of older, more verifiable, reliable manuscripts and artifacts around the Bible, which has given more light to specific different verses in this manuscripts. So there's been a slight adjustments. And then number two, the second reason is that English itself has evolved as a language. The first original translation was a King James version, which had a Shakespearean kind of prose to it. Sounds eloquent, it sounds sacred, but today it's just not the common spoken language in the English tongue. So a more contemporary versions have been created for understandable, readable purposes. You get different types of versions of the Bible. You walk into any Bible store, you will see a Good News Bible, you will see NIV, King James, you'll see message versions, New American Standard, etc., etc. There's a load of different versions. They have different purposes. So for example, the Message version is a contemporary reading to convey the meaning and the same kind of emotions that the original manuscripts would have evoked. There's quite a huge task when it comes to translating from Hebrew and Greek into English. Any scholar that is doing translation will tell you that it's no easy feat. And to portray the same meanings and statements and little phrases is almost impossible. English doesn't communicate the same way as the pictorial language of Hebrew and Greek convey. So they've had to come up with more kind of interpretive ways to evoke the same meaning, but using different nuances in the translation. The Message goes for a contemporary way of bringing understanding, light to that passage that would mean something for today, current. There are other versions of the Bible, like, for example, the King James Version, which goes for an exact interpretation. It is trying to translate word for word, like for like, without any interpretive license. This is good for study and for knowing what is exactly meant in the original text, but feels a bit wooden and feels a little bit jarred and not so easily readable. So you get another type of version called the NIV, the New International Version, which goes for trying to keep as consistent with the original text as possible, but also to make it readable. The TNIV is a new updated version which has got some more information around the facts, manuscripts that were older, that were found, that have slightly changed, some nuances. So all translations are beneficial, they are helpful. I would even say pictorial little Bibles are helpful for understanding and catching the story plan of God from Genesis to Revelation. They are all good, but now at least you will have an understanding as to why there are different Bible translations in the English. I pray that this helps you, that this would be a benefit to you, and reading the Bible, the text that is left for us to know the story, the accounts, the eyewitness accounts of Jesus coming, the Old Testament Torah. These are the words of our God, living and active to bring change and transformation in your life. God bless.